everyone, it's Jenny. Welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I wanted to do a combination of all the vases that I've done on this channel since I started. That was about a year and a half ago. It's crazy how time flies, but I did a lot of vases, different styles for every one of them. I did use a lot of paint with baking soda, like that mixture. It makes the finishing project look like ceramic, so definitely my type of vibe. So I wanted to show you all the different type of vases that I've done, and I put it in one whole video. If you guys want it more detailed, of course you can go to the actual videos that I've done it, but this is just a combination and have some of them linked down below for you. But let's go ahead and get started with the first DIY. Let's go. So for the first vase, I started off with these items that I got from the Dollar Tree. Then I took my permanent marker and I started dotting around the vase so I know precisely of where I'm going to put the wooden dowels, and they're even all around. Once I was done marking that, I just went down and drew some lines where the dots were so it's like nice and clean and straight. And then I just glued on my wooden dowels all around the vase. It should end up looking something like this. After that, I just took some of my spackling that I had left over from previous projects, and because it was kind of dry, I added some water and mixed that up. So I tried to put that all over this vase, but unfortunately it wasn't sticking the way that I wanted it to be, but I kept trying to, you know, make it work, but it didn't. So I just took some Coke that I had left over and I used that instead, and it worked so much better than the spackling did. Don't forget, you can always build up this Coke, let it dry, and then add more. And then after you let it fully dry, you're going to start sanding it out to smooth everything out all around the vase. So that was the best that I can do with smoothing everything out. After this, I just took some paint and I mixed it up with some baking soda and I just painted that all around. This color ended up looking kind of weird, so I just took some satin white paint and I painted that on the top half of this vase. Once everything was dried up, now you're going to take some gray paint, and I took a toothbrush and I started just splattering it all over the vase. And yeah, make sure that you don't get too close because that's how I got those lines instead of like these perfect dots all around the vase. So for the second vase, I wanted to turn this into a planter, so I used this ordinary glass and I'm going to mix some baking soda and some acrylic paint. You're going to see me use this method a lot. I just really like the faux ceramic look that it turns out to be once everything dries up. So if you wanted your planter to have more texture, just add more baking soda to the paint. Next, I just grabbed some raffia that I got from the Dollar Tree and I cut it out to the same size as the ring around the vase. And now I'm just cutting smaller pieces and tying it to the longer one. And how I did that was just using the lark head knot method. After that, I just grabbed some raffia strands and made it into a braid, and that will be wrapped around the bottom of this planter. So just from experience, like you see here, hot glue does not stick onto paint that has baking soda on it. So once you get that little piece off and then glue it directly onto the vase, it sticks perfectly. Now I'm just gluing the raffia braid all around the bottom of this planter. And once you glue on the first row of raffia cord, just glue the second one on top of it and it'll stick really well. So I didn't think about this until afterwards. I would have glued down these pieces to the first row of the braided raffia and then glued the second one right on top so it hides the ends. But I didn't think about that ahead of time, so if you're gonna plan on doing this, just follow that direction and hide those ends. It will look a little bit more clean. So for this, we're going to go in with another vase and we're actually going to spray paint it, and it doesn't have to be perfect. I did spray paint this at night, so that's why there's missing pieces, but it doesn't matter because you're going to cover it up anyways. So grab a little bit of water and you're going to make like a paper mache type liquid, so just glue and water. Mix it up, make sure it's nice and smooth. Now you're going to grab some floss. So I tried this on a smaller object and it looked really cool, so I wanted to try this method on a vase to see how that turned out. So I'm just grabbing a bunch of floss and dipping that into the liquid and making sure that the whole entire floss is covered. Now that your floss is nice and dipped into that glue liquid, you're gonna start wrapping that around the vase and creating like this design. I don't know why it was all chunky. I believe that's from the floss or the glue, but just make sure after you're done wrapping this around the vase that you remove those chunky pieces. This is what it looks like after it's dried. Check if there's any pieces that are sticking out because you don't want to go to the next step with pieces that aren't glued onto the vase. Now we're gonna go in with our favorite method, mixing glue and baking soda. So whatever color you guys want, just mix that in. After 3 coats of paint, this is what it looks like, and look how textured that is. It looks so pretty. Now for the fun part, we're going to start pulling off the floss and revealing the design underneath. I have to admit that it did look nicer on a smaller object than it did on this vase because it wasn't a straight line like I wanted it to. So next time if I do this method, I'm actually going to use tape. Let's see how that turns out. The next project, I'm using this simple vase that I got from the Dollar Tree, and then I'm using this masking tape and just taping it off so it has like a straight line right in the middle of this vase. My suggestion is to wrap the whole entire top half of this vase. You'll see why I suggest to do that because your girl over here, she messed up. She really messed up. And go ahead and leave your vase to the side and grab your pearl stickers that you got from the Dollar Tree. And all you're gonna do is start pulling off these pearl beads off of the sticky sheet. And may I just say that doing this with some long nails is so difficult. Just because I can't make straight lines, I wanted to mark out where I'm gonna put my pearl onto the vase. So that's what I'm doing here, just drawing out where I'm going to put the pearls. Once you're done marking it, you're going to start gluing the pearls onto your vase by using your hot glue gun. I suggest not putting too much glue, just want the pearls to be the one that's sticking out. And yes, I'm using my nail skin cutter thing because I couldn't find my tweezers, so we work with what we got. So now that we're all done with that, it's time to clean off the hot glue. So any strings that you see, you're going to try to clean that off as much as possible. Then I just grabbed my spray paint that I had left over from my previous DIYs and I sprayed away. But this is why I told you to just tape the top half of the vase earlier, because you don't want to be like a dummy like me and just go at it and start spraying the top of the vase too. Once your vase is nice and dry, it's time to remove the tape. But as you can see, I didn't do a really good job with removing all the glue. That's why it's a little bit bumpy here and there. For the finishing touches, I'm just grabbing some twine and wrapping that around the middle of this vase, wrapping that a couple of times and then just tying it into a pretty bow, and you're pretty much done. So I got this really cool looking vase from Goodwill, and of course we're going to repurpose it and make it into our own where it fits our aesthetic. And of course by now you guys probably know what I'm going to do. I'm going to put baking soda into paint, and yes, we're going to paint the whole thing, and you guys probably saw it a million times by now, but I just like how, you know, all these vases can look so different using the same method, and just look how cool that looks. A lot of my vases are rounded, so I thought this would look really cool if I got like a rectangular square looking one, and I added some stickies onto it that I got from the Dollar Tree, made a cool design. And I do want to say that don't use just the stickers because it doesn't stick very well. I would definitely add some glue, like some A6000 or some A6000, E6000, glue it on, let it dry, and then start painting so you know for sure it doesn't fall off. off with using this vase that I got from the Dollar Tree, as well as these table scatters. I see a lot of people use this as like a vase filler if you don't want to scatter it around your table, but thought they were really pretty. And I had the idea to glue this onto the vase. So I'm just trying to figure out how I wanted this vase to look like. Originally, I did want it at the top, but then suddenly I glued it at the bottom. And you know, after hot gluing it onto the vase, it was really hard for me to pull it apart, so I kind of just had to go with it. But if I were to do this project again, I would actually glue the hearts on the top of the vase rather than the bottom part. I grabbed myself some spray paint from Michael's. I got this ivory one and this stone coarse textured one. This is going to be my first time using it. Never done this before, but thought I would try it for this project. So I'm just spraying the ivory all over the vase, making sure that I got all the little cracks, and then I went in with the textured spray paint. I mean, look how cool that looks. I'm just spraying that on. Like, look at all that texture. And yes, that was my doggo running in the background. This is how it looks like after it dried overnight. Isn't it so pretty? So I actually got this vase from one of my sister's bouquet that she got me. The vase looks really cool, but I just didn't like the colors. So of course I needed to paint it, and I used my favorite method, again, adding baking soda into the paint. I just love how it looks ceramic and you're not even spending that much on it. But this time I'm actually letting it dry and adding Mod Podge all over the vase. It does add some shininess to this vase, which is a little different than my other ones, but I don't mind it because it seals in the paint and it doesn't come off when water touches it, because I'm putting this one into the bathroom. Next step was for me to take apart some jute cord and braided it because I liked the braided look. And I'm just gluing that all around the top portion of this vase. Like many of my vases, I got this from Goodwill, and I usually shop there or go to the Dollar Tree for some vases. And then I'm grabbing some paint, mixing that together, and this time, guys, we're making it a two-toned vase. Yes, we stepped up our game, and you know, we're doing two-toned, but we're adding more baking soda because I did want this vase to have more texture. But what I've seen in a previous video that Sorry Girls did with Lone Fox, they actually added sand into their paint, and they said that they liked it a lot more than baking soda. So be on the lookout for that, because I definitely want to try that out. It sounds really cool, and the work looked really nice in the end. Oh my goodness, that was a lot of vases, I have to admit. 9 different ones. Let me know which one's your favorite. Leave me a comment down below. But anyways, I hope that you guys liked it. This is not going to be the last vases that you guys see on this channel. Please give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!